Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of What If Civilization Started Over? We are now on episode 48, pretty far into the series. In the last episode, we saw World War III continue. Yes, this is going to be a 5-episode war, if you include episode 50 as the peace treaty. Um, I'm sure most people already kind of expected that at this point, but yeah. Um, so let's just dive straight in. I stole that from you. Dang it. I did not mean to steal that from Ada's Pro, by the way. Alright, so we start off with West Mexicans continue invading America. America is like falling off bad. Alright. Um, and then Canada's starting to lose now. That that general was that had done really that was doing all the really good stuff. Yeah, he was shot, and suddenly now this entire front is collapsing up here. Yeah, he was their only smart general. There's not really a lot of smart people in this war, especially in North America. Whoops. Alright, let's see what Oregon is doing quite a lot up here. British Columbia, they're also doing some stuff up here. There's not really much of an army left for Canada to be fighting. They've ran out of supplies at this point, and the Great Lakes Empire's forcing them to send supplies to them, even though they're not fighting anything. All right. Well, I should say so. They're not fighting anything, is what they want you to think. Michigan rebels from the Great Lakes Empire. We see we see the once or the what was the sixth country in the world now returns. And yeah, this rebellion gets extremely popular amongst people. Alright. So yeah, Michigan rebels from the Great Lakes Empire. That's sad for them. So that's why they've been taking resources back here. Also, because they just wanted to defend their own borders, because they knew that these borders were gonna fall anyway. They're gonna try and fight back against the rebellion, but it's not gonna do much at all. And yeah, it's honestly not worth it even. It's not worth fighting. And we see this rebellion starts to take a big control in the south. Alright. Now we move on to Alaska. Actually, I shouldn't have closed that out. Let's open back up here. Maybe it'll have what I'm looking for. And it doesn't. Okay. Great. Well, it kind of does. Alright. Well, the yellow team in New York also rebels. Alright, but we gotta go back even further. I think it'll be an 8. Yep. Okay. This little guy right here. Niagara. They rebel as well. But we see new rebellions also pop up. Specifically, well, really just another one more rebellion. Well, it's there's two more that will pop up, I guess. First one is this kind of light blue one along Lake Huron. It kind of shows up in 3 different spots across the lake, but and then the other one, we see this kind of orangey rebellion kind of pops up down here, but it also kind of the rebellions are kind of fighting against each other, but with each other. But yeah. All right. So these rebellions all pop up. And yeah, the Great Lakes Empire not doing too swell. And it gets even worse. Caribbean country, they do have another smart general. Well, not just one, they have a few. And what they do is they make 2 big spearheads. And instead, they make them right towards the capital. Then they force this one back into one big spearhead, as well as encircling these guys down here and capturing them. Some of them even just defect to the Caribbean nation. But long story short, the American capital is captured, and the red team rejoices. But they're still kind of like losing this. Turns out they didn't really get a good grip on influencing these two down here. So those 2 diamonds go bye-bye, and that diamond also goes bye-bye. And I'm sure you can already guess what they're replaced with. They rejoin the Cross Alliance, and they're gladly welcomed back. They don't join the Gear Alliance quite yet, but yeah. So now they're back to invading um West Africa or West France will focus kind of on the yellow team, while as these 3 kind of go out all over. In Switzerland, you're once again not doing too hot, buddy. Alright. Now, I do need to go back to 40, 43 to be safe. Yeah, okay, good. Not on the right layer. Alright. Don't ask what that layer's for. It's for something random I do. All right, so Alaska is coming back too now, by the way. Alaska kind of regains itself back, especially along the coast, which happens to be the one thing Canada was kind of going for in Alaska. It also happens more so in the areas a bit further away from Canada. So, like, just this area up here, and the Aleutian Islands. Alright, so yeah, Alaska's back now. So, I don't know if anyone was an Alaska fan, but if you were, good job or good for you, probably. Alright, let's turn that back off. Actually, let's head back over to Switzerland now. Catalonia is now invading them with the aid of the Iberian countries. Yeah, Switzerland, you're never gonna convince Iberia to separate. These two, or Galicia's welcome back. Uh, these guys kind of were. They were kind of close with Galicia. They've been close to Galicia, but not as much with Catalonia, considering they did take Catalonian lands. All right, Catalonia recaptures major city here, and yeah, uh, Switzerland should have given up while he still could, as well, you've got the Germans. They coming back from where you've got East Germany wants to come back now. They don't like what's going on. Then you've got your Central Germany wants to come back. And then you've got the Dutch coming back out. And then after all that, you definitely are going to have the Danish. The Danish kind of stay in the Danish peninsula, plus right in this spot. Are they kind of mad at these guys for attacking them? Yes. But they got to deal with it for now. They can sort everything out later. Alright. But yeah, 4 rebellions for the Swiss, all in the north. And the Swiss just doesn't really have much going good for them anymore. We see this, the country here takes the rest of this. They kind of have to cover for the Great Empire, while the Great Empire is fighting against, fighting down here against Ethiopia, and out at this gold team. And also now, supposedly the Great Empire is using their troops all over in this region. Hmm. Countries are kind of raising suspicions, but I mean, who wouldn't be superstitious? All right, the Adriatic Union, very strong country. And some say they're going to join the Mediterranean Union. Others say the Mediterranean Union is going to join them. Nobody knows, but one thing's for certain, these two are working very well together. They capture this major city, and or these guys capture that major city. These guys move up pretty fastly, capturing that major city. And looks like Catalonia is going to get some lands back from World War One. They capture this major city up here. West France moves up as well. And Switzerland It's not gonna go well for Switzerland. I can tell you that much. And oh, for something I forgot to mention up here. Bye bye. Sweden leaves the war. People in Dutch control or in Danish controlled areas down here are kind of wanting their independence too, so they're gonna focus internally now. So Switzerland hates them too. Finland stays in the war though. Um, but now we move over here to the Great Empire. Hey, they've actually got something good going for them. It we just captured this pocket here in the Persian Gulf country. That's really it though, for down there at least. Out here, they are able to slightly push back against this country a bit more, but I don't know. This one's kind of weird up there. The Persians are they're starting to run low on supplies, but they still manage to push back to the door of this country here, and also push the Tibetans out of their territory. The Tibetans, however, are smart and they go recapture their capital. And actually, as it turns out, their whatever leader they have, their king, was taken hostage by these guys. Jeez, really shouldn't be kings or any money. There shouldn't be many monarchies at this late. I guess there really isn't as many as I thought, but just kind of European countries and a few others across Asia. But alright, and someone Oceania. No, wait. That is God. That has got to be changed soon. Alright, I'm getting distracted, so let's refocus. Alright, the Tibetans managed to actually fish this country almost completely out of their own territory. So, good for them. Myanmar. Or not Myanmar, Bangladesh. Bye, my. Oh, okay. I never realized this was a greenish yellow color. Alright, well, Myanmar invades Bangladesh. Whoopsies, we captured your capital. What you gonna do about it? Well, they're not gonna do much at all because they got some other invasions to worry about. Why is there a capital out here? Um, yeah, so it doesn't go well for these guys up here. A lot of the major powers in the world are kind of faltering. Ethiopia and Korea are the only ones that really are not getting invaded at all. Well, no, Ethiopia is the only major power that's not getting invaded at all. And that trend continues as they are able to push back the Great Empire only by a little bit. And the Great Empire is also pushing them back a bit. But then something kind of big happens. Um Yeah, the leader of Ethiopia is kind of shot while visiting down here in like Kenya, and people go wild about this. I mean, absolutely wild. like people are, oh, what's going on and what's happening? Well, like people want answers as to what just happened. And Ethiopia doesn't know. They're not able to provide those answers. And people are mad at Ethiopia for not being able to do something, which honestly, somebody just shot your president. You don't have anyone to command your country. How are you like supposed to come out 2 seconds later and say, "Oh yeah, we know who shot this guy." Yeah, and yeah, Ethiopia suddenly went from being decent. Uh, they were never. Jeez, they're the most stable of the, or least. They're the least stable out of all of the countries as of the last map. But if you look at this, if you look up here, this is a very outdated map. We're looking over here or down here or most anywhere. You'll see it's very outdated. Even over here. Well, actually, that was a while ago, but yeah, it's a very outdated map. Let me get that. All right, over here, um, we actually see a similar thing just happened with the Korean president. They, or not the president, but the king, which is actually even worse. And now Korea is is it's third most unstable country or main power of World War Five. Wait a minute, this is World War Three. Why am I saying World War Five? All right. Well, they're the third most unstable. All right. Turns out the trade route that China had here isn't going too well for China. And now with everything that's going on, we see that this Central Chinese country is able to push back against Korea. And they even get to go as far as pushing into South China and capturing Taiwan. And in South China, they also happen to kind of push this country back, South China back. South China is also sending forces out here now, so that's the only reason why. South China is a top 20 power. Yeah. So the war's getting even more and more and more into chaos. And yeah. So now coming back up here, you know how earlier I said the military was getting involved? This map, not old enough. Episode 8 map, that's old enough, actually. So let's get back here. Oh, no, 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 that's not what I want to do. Let's open. So, no, not 24. That's too new. I'm sure you can already guess where this is heading. All right, so way back to I forgot when. There was a rebellion in Blue Anatolia that ended up being funded by its neighboring countries. I don't know if we actually found that out yet. But yeah, it was funded by these guys. And well, as it turns out, Caspia was never really fully on board with the idea of a giant union between the six of them, and it kind of got worse when they invaded, I think, three other countries. Uh, I believe it was during World War II. Caspia had revolted from the Great Empire. Well, now we see it happening again. But it's not just Caspia revolting. No, no. Why would it be? Let's be honest. Why would it be? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or 5, 4, 3. Except this isn't actually 3. As we see or parties from many of the different. Actually, this rebellion starts more so down here where Caspia was founded. But it kind of spreads all over the Great Empire. And it's fueled by, well, the government was shooting people out here. So, yeah. So, yep, they're out. Next, the Crimeans rebel. Um, yeah. The, the third of the five great powers is experiencing rebellions. Caucasia also rebels. One Caucasia does. I might change its color. Fit. This is the second time Caucasia has rebelled from Blue Team. Now Azerbaijan also rebels. Lastly, you see the Purple Team rebelling. And fun fact, this was the countries rebelling, it was more so their idea. But then, uh, recently, the Blue Team had a monarch come into place, and, they didn't really like it. So, and then that monarch just kind of stayed in place, and then it just became Blue Team, Blue Team, Blue Team ruling, and that's not what they wanted. It was supposed to be more of an oligarchy, really. That's what they had planned for, but it didn't work, clearly. So, yeah, 5 more rebellions here, 4 here, 5 out here. Yeah, it's bad for most of the great countries in the world. And it doesn't get better at all. Korea fans, you're next. We come down over here as uh Lake Baikal has somehow mastered the ability of blitzkrieg. And they take China's capital from 2 directions, having this big encirclement here, which they are able to close in on, as there actually aren't many troops here, as most of them had fled, and it ends up being this surrender. This entire area falls over. And now with the Chinese military partially, or pretty much gone, meetup happens there. Bam. And now we see the invasion of Korea begin. And people in these countries are having enough. They don't want this war anymore. This isn't alright. This is Holden. Okay. Holden the fish. Alright. Firstly, we see this part of Japan rebel. And then, obviously, the southern part also rebel. Also, even taking over that, which I actually think they just done fully anyway. Damn, what do I want? Alright, so the orange team here also rebels, and that's not it. As we come up a bit, if you remember, Korea had invaded the Siberian country because the Siberians had been too weak. What the heck? Alright, so we see the Siberians come back too. They're kind of up here in the north, but they also have some uh, some things down here too. All right, this is old enough. Actually, all right. 24 might be enough. Yes. Okay. So we come over here. We come over here as the last rebellion to take place in Korea. Is this Cyan team wants to come back? Okay. And then, as a result of this, the green team just takes that back. Countries invading the great powers, they're not really too worried about fighting against the rebellions. They more so just want to take out the big countries. But that will almost do it for today's episode. I hadn't forgotten one thing. Ethiopia, my friend. Your time has come. Full protests, full on riot, or no, full on revolts have started in main four area or three areas across the country. Firstly, Kenya. Secondly, maybe less of a rebellion and more just a lot of people fighting back suddenly. But we have Tanzania here. I'm gonna make it as an invasion because Tanzania actually never left. And then you've got the purple team here. Yeah. And also, there is the final rebellion of this really, really light green country. Alright. Well, that will actually do it for today's episode of What If Civilization Started Over. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next.